Hello, a very warm welcome to all of you. We are delighted to be back with Professor Dr. C. Raj Kumar, taking the conversation that we started earlier forward. We've had the great opportunity to have an amazing conversation with Professor Dr. C. Raj Kumar, tracing his journey from his early days in Kanyakumari and Chennai and Delhi University. And today we are delighted to be here at Oxford University, Professor Raj Kumar's alma mater, where he studied at the University College, Oxford. And I am very, very fortunate to be here with Professor Dr. C. Raj Kumar and to have a conversation with him about his time here at University of Oxford. Often during our conversation, he spoke about what an important role Oxford University played in shaping him, not only as an intellectual, but also igniting his vision to start a world-class university in India. We often spoke about how he owes an intellectual debt to the institution, how he owes an intellectual debt to all his mentors here at University of Oxford. We also often speak about the fact that University of Oxford is the base where he for the first time thought about creating an institution which will be an institution that will define the future of ideas. So I'm very, very excited and delighted, Professor Raj, to be here with you today and to have this conversation with you. So before we begin and sort of have a conversation about the University of Oxford, your journey to Oxford and your time here in Oxford, how do you feel today to be here?
Yeah, listen, I keep coming here to Oxford a lot for a number of reasons, but most importantly, as you know, every year for almost a decade, and we've had 40 plus students from the law school, almost 25 students from the liberal arts school, and on some occasions, around 20 students from the international affairs school regularly come here, and we have fostered collaborations that will enable them to spend several weeks in the year pursuing a short-term study abroad program. But besides that, we do international conferences, we have academic affiliations, we also recruit faculty members from Oxford. So it's been a very substantive engagement with Oxford. But as you can imagine, every time I come to Oxford, it's an emotional moment. It's a personal pilgrimage for me because I came to Oxford literally when I was 24. This was 1998. I had completed my studies at Delhi University Law Faculty. I had got the Rhodes Scholarship. We come to Oxford, which is tenable only at Oxford. And I was admitted to this college where we are sitting. I have so many memories of this place. It's the University College. It was, and as, like for people in India who may be viewing this, Oxford is the collegiate system. There are more than 30 plus colleges in Oxford, and every student ought to be a member of a college and will be admitted to a course which is essentially administered by a faculty or in the form of discipline, a department of a school. So although we have the faculty of law at the University of Oxford where I was a student, but every student is also part of a college, and my college was University College. But then the college becomes the most important part of the social, cultural, and arguably even the intellectual life of a student, because college is the place where your accommodation is. College is the place where you dine, the dining facilities are. It is also a place where the common room and your social, cultural life is. It's also a place where your tutors are. So every student has a tutor where the tutorials are held at the college. And I was very privileged that I had the great John Finnis, who was one of the most distinguished professor of political and moral philosophy, one of the leading figures in the natural law theory. And also he taught, along with Joseph Raz, both of them had a very famous seminars called the Jurisprudence and Political Theory Seminars, which I was part of. And I would have my tutorial with John Finnis right adjacent to the place where we were sitting. So to answer your question, it's very special. And this is exactly where the early ideas, the dream of wanting to build a university in India arose for me. So, and I must say that as a young student at 24, frankly, you don't know much. That was my first trip abroad. I'd never traveled abroad and just landed up here. I come from a middle-class family, so we did have vacations to fancy destinations around the world before. The reason I could actually come here was I got the scholarship and I landed up here. So much about this place really shaped my thinking about what a great university ought to be. And that's what my inspiration was.
Raj, this is truly fascinating. And I have to tell you that as your queen, and because I have the opportunity to travel with you this time here to Oxford. And I also remember when I was 24 years old, and when I had come out to study, not to outside the country, but I was in Delhi. But setting up a university was never a decision of any one of us. I can't think of many people who at 24 would think about setting up a university as a future goal, as a vision or a passion. So we would really want to hear more about what is it about Oxford that ignited that thought in your mind, sure. Because this goal is not an individual goal, it's a collective goal. To have that sense of collective goal at 24. So can you tell us a little more about
that? Well, so you're absolutely right that this is not like something that I went off to do, when I came to Oxford. But in the early phase of my stay in Oxford, right opposite of this college is the All Souls College, which is another amazing college. I had two of my professors there, Professor Roger Wood and Professor Lucia Zender, both distinguished leaders in the field of criminology, criminal justice. Professor Roger Wood became a great friend later, and of course has visited our campus. He died last year, and he also contributed Professor Roger Wood endowment lecture series at our campus. And Lucia Zender remains a very distinguished scholar in the field of criminal justice. So attending their classes and their tutorials, attending classes in the law faculty and attending tutorials here, I was part of an intellectual environment that was profoundly inspiring. And mind that I did go to two good Indian universities, Royal College Madras, Delhi. I genuinely felt that there was some amazing teachers and professors who taught me, but the sheer intellectual vigorousness of the place and the opportunity to be pursuing an education that can be truly transformative, and the fact that the entire approach towards education is to promote transformative ideas and to inspire individuals became the mission of the institution. And I felt that is quite a grand idea and a grand vision. And the fact that Oxford has been pursuing this for 800 years was even more fascinating for me. And so, when all of that was happening, there was one instance here in this college which became a trigger point, and I have to share that with you. So the master of my college at University College was a man by name Lord Butler. Lord Butler used to be the cabinet secretary of the government of UK. He retired as a distinguished civil servant, and he became the master of this college. And he was, of course, very passionate about college, and he would invite us for lunches and dinners at the master's residence, which is again just adjacent to where we are sitting. I'll show you that. And he would always begin his speech, whenever he spoke, that we are at the oldest college in the English-speaking world. Now, this college was founded in the year 1249, and when I was a student in 1998 and 99, we were celebrating the 750th anniversary. In fact, I was part of the 750th anniversary celebration committee. So whenever Lord Butler would say that we are the oldest college and in the English-speaking world, on one occasion I went up to him and asked him, listen, you always mention this and then use this words about the English-speaking world, and then mentioned to me something about it I knew, but he reminded me about it and said, listen, Raj, in your subcontinent, there were university institutions such as Nalanda, Takshashila, Vallabhi, and Vikramshila. These institutions predate Oxford, which is 800 years old, Bologna, which is 900 years old, but long before them. And so that, when he mentioned that to me, it immediately struck a chord with me, and I began to really wonder that 2,500 years ago, Indian subcontinent had provided global leadership as a part of our civilizational heritage to provide transformative education. In fact, people may not know this, or at least they don't appreciate it enough, Takshashila University in India institution, they are not like the way we understand universities today. But that had students and faculty from around the world. It had the concept of holistic education. It had the vision of interdisciplinary education. It had liberal arts and humanities and social sciences. So such was the vision with which these institutions were established and were functioning for a very long time. So Indian subcontinent provided global leadership for that type of education. So when Lord Butler mentioned this to me, and I was experiencing such an education here at Oxford, and I really asked a question. And this all began with a question that I asked to myself: are there universities like Oxford in India? It was a very simple, a very naive question for an undergraduate or a graduate student. I asked that question to myself, and that answering that question became my life's mission. And answering the question, and then to move towards, addressing the problem, the challenge, was part of that mission. And that's how it all began. And of course, I must say that the more I ended up staying in Oxford, I became even more convinced that so many dimensions of this university, in terms of its commitment to intellectual rigor, commitment to academic scholarship, commitment to academic freedom, commitment to institutional autonomy, commitment to working in the realm of transformative ideas, all those things were so engaging and so inspiring that I felt that I want to be part of an effort to build an institution in India which will imbibe some of the values, many of the values that Oxford University had brought about for a very long time.
Oh, thank you for sharing this, Raj, because it's fascinating to know that. The courage of conviction that it requires to take this dream and vision forward. It is fascinating to know the role that Oxford University and your mentors and colleagues, peers have played towards it. And I'm sure those who are watching it are also truly inspired to hear what that kind of courage of conviction can lead to eventually. Actually, before we talk a little bit perhaps more about your journey in Oxford and to understand the institution better, could you tell our viewers a little bit about the journey to Oxford? Because last conversation we were having, we sort of left off at Delhi University and when you were pursuing your LLB degree there. And we spoke a little bit about the Rhodes Scholarship and what it meant for you to get the Rhodes Scholarship and how it propelled your journey to Oxford and then eventually your academic and intellectual journey and journey towards setting up the university. But could you tell us a little bit about the Rhodes Scholarship and how you decided to apply?
So, in life, so many things happen, not necessarily because planned for it. There are things that happen accidentally, and there are things that happen because, destiny had it set up for you. My own journey to Rhodes was one such example. I had no intention to go abroad at all. I had no plans to apply for any university abroad, largely because of the fact that I come from a middle-class family in India. My father is a professor, mother is a government doctor. For my parents to have afforded to send me to Delhi was a big deal, and that's the maximum I could think of, I could imagine. So when my friends and classmates were applying abroad just after I graduated, I had no intention. I joined the National Human Rights Commission as a researcher and enrolled myself in the LLM program in Delhi University, largely with a view to pursuing that and to pursue some aspect of human rights work. But then, quite remarkably, on one occasion, when a friend of mine who had then got the INLAC scholarship was going to the office of the Rhodes of the INLAC scholarship, which is located in St. Stephen's College at Delhi University. He wanted me to accompany him. I just randomly went along with him. And when he was doing some paperwork for the INLAC scholarship, I saw a board which said the Rhodes Scholarship. And very curiously, I approached that office and asked, what is this Rhodes Scholarship? I had no idea about it. And he mentioned the office staff that this is a very prestigious scholarship. It allows, bright students to be selected to study at Oxford and all of that. But then I said, Oxford is very expensive, so what does the scholarship do? They said that the scholarship allows 100% tuition scholarship. And I was very, like a typical middle-class family person, I was very skeptical. And I said, really? How can that be possible? And then they said, no, it also gives you entire fee for accommodation, food, and even travel and transport, and also money for woolen clothes. And I was beginning to wonder, this must be some sort of a scam. This can't be true. And like, how can, somebody give scholarship that will take care of so much of expenses? Then I, in a typical middle-class person, I would say, I asked him that, what about airfare? And he said, no, airfare is also included. We take care of airfare. And then I asked, what about visa fee? And, we include visa fee as well. And I just thought this is the large-scale scam that they are doing. Gullible students are coming and trying to apply for this. I had no clue. And I was, as a middle-class family person, I was so skeptical of the possibility that somebody would give you 100% scholarship and then would give you money for woolen clothes and airfare and accommodation and food and, a visa fee, and will send you abroad. And this was beyond my imagination. But then, that was reality. So I got to know that it's a serious endeavor, and I applied for it, and I got it. And so, in a way, I sometimes wonder, and that's exactly what I tell young people, is that just remain open to such things in life. Not many things in life happen because you planned for it. If I had not walked to St. Stephen's College to accompany my friend who had got the INLAC scholarship, for all you know, not only would I have not known about the existence of Rhodes Scholarship, but I would have not even applied for it, and my life and journey and trajectory would have been very different. Not that it would have been bad, but we would never know what it would have been. But the point I want to say is that the Rhodes Scholarship became an opportunity for me to access international education, something that simply was not possible for a middle-class family member like me. We cannot even imagine to be able to pursue education of this kind. And that particular experience left me with an indelible imprint about the need for providing opportunities to students to pursue international education. In fact, we are right now pursuing that project at Jindal. Generations of our students every year, nearly 1,000 of our students go abroad, and we have created opportunities for them in almost 500 universities spread across 75 countries, and our international office actively works towards creating these opportunities. But having said that, one of the challenges that remain, and as remain part of my concern, is that people like me at Jindal would not be able to afford these international opportunities. It still remains an opportunity that is available for relatively wealthier people and those who can afford to can come to these places. One of the things that we are working on very actively is that how do we democratize internationalization? How do we build greater access and promote inclusivity in internationalization so that a larger number of students from Jindal are able to pursue international education in some parts of the world. It doesn't mean that all of them need to come to the United States or UK or Europe. There are amazing opportunities and institutions across the world, including Southeast Asia, Middle East, Latin America, Africa, and South Asia. And our goal is to help our students understand the world better. And so internationalization was one of my biggest experiences that I got out of Rhodes, because I quickly realized that when you come out of your own country, you begin to learn. The learning begins immediately when you just move out of your comfort zone, and every experience of meeting new people, having new experiences, being in new institutions, and understanding new perspectives, all of that is part of the learning process.
No, that's true, Raj, and I'm truly inspired by what you said about the fact that it's getting out of your comfort zone, and it is also being able to experience new institutions, new people, new contexts. And for the longest time, particularly in Indian context, anytime we talked of internationalization, anytime we thought about going abroad to study, it was always in a Western context. You always thought, North America or Europe. And I have been fortunate to be part of many such conversations at Jindal University, where you led these conversations and spearheaded them, where you're thinking about internationalization in new and imaginative terms, and you're talking about, as you said, Asia, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and the opportunities that these regions can offer at a very, very affordable possibility for many parents and students in India. So I think that's a very important message to be going out. But to take a slight detour and to take a little bit of personal detour, how was your family's reaction to your getting the Rhodes Scholarship and to your wanting to come to Oxford to study?
So when you are part of a middle-class family, my father is a professor and mother is a government doctor, your aspirations, you are defined by your commitment to pursuing education. And my parents were very convinced and very clear about the fact that they wanted to provide and support the best possible education that they could afford in India, and that's what they did. But beyond that, that was not part of our imagination at all. But when I got the Rhodes Scholarship, it was just extraordinary. It was an ecstatic moment for the family in terms of, a great opportunity that has come about. And my father, in his professorial, life, he traveled around the world. So it was not that we did not experience from his standpoint and in sharing those experiences with us, but as a professor, he has traveled to over 50 countries and visiting professorships and taught in many places around the world. So, but then these were stories shared by him to us, and we would listen about his journeys and experiences more as an academic, as a professor, as a later year academic. But for me to be able to get this opportunity was something that was never part of the, plans, so to say. And that gave enormous opportunities to be able to think about the world in different manner. And I think one of the things that was instilled in me very early on is to be able to look at opportunities to do things that can be beyond beneficial for me personally. And that was part of the kind of mentorship and guidance that was provided both by parents but also my teachers and mentors. I was very convinced that when you have an opportunity to get high quality education, when you are privileged to be able to be, receiving such education, with all privilege comes responsibility. So, of course, one can be personally successful in one's lives and endeavors to do things. But because I got the Rhodes and I was here at Oxford, I immediately felt a sense of responsibility. Almost feeling that, I need to be part of an effort to do something for India and in India that can help fulfill the aspirations of millions of young people to be able to receive world-class education. The reality is, not only the institution now, with hindsight, we can say after 15 years as OP Jindal Global University celebrating its 15th anniversary, not only have we created a world-class university in India, but if you really look at what we have done, is we have also democratized excellence. Because if you look at it, excellence has always come with the higher price in the world. So if you look at, for example, North America, the average tuition fee cost of a leading university in North America is approximately $100,000, which is rupees 80 lakhs. And if you look at the cost of education, we're looking at over ₹1 crore per annum. If you look at the UK and other institutions, we are looking at approximately 50 to 60 lakhs of rupees per annum. So the idea of an institution that is providing, an education at approximately, 5 lakhs per annum, where we are delivering education 20 times cheaper than what the Western institutions are delivering. That is a truly transformative opportunity. So,
Raj, thank you for sharing that. And I actually wanted to also ask you, the year you got a Rhodes Scholarship, how many total from India?
So historically, when the Rhodes Scholarship became available for India, there were 2 Rhodes Scholars from India. And then there were many years, there were up to 6. Okay. And then in recent times, it has become now 4. So 4 to 6, it has a direct correlation to the kind of resources that is needed. Over the years, Rhodes has expanded to new countries as well. Indian Rhodes can accommodate more. There is a case for more Rhodes scholars to come from. We're a country of 1.5 billion people. A billion of them are less than 35 years of age. So there is no reason why, in my past conversations with the Rhodes Trust, they have mentioned that they could easily accommodate up to 10 Rhodes scholars from India. But that has a correlation to availability of benefactors and resources. So if there are more benefactors from India who are prepared to fund, then the Rhodes Trust will be happy to raise the current number of 4 to even up to 10. So it's a very competitive. The logic is very simple. There is a threshold commitment to quality for the Rhodes Scholarship, like everything else. But because India is a vast country, and there are outstanding, talented young people in India, without compromising quality, they can easily select 10 Rhodes Scholars from India. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So as I said, 4 Rhodes Scholars is what they have now. During my time, I think it was 6 Rhodes Scholars were selected from the whole country across all disciplines. And
do you stay in touch? Do the Rhodes Scholars stay in touch?
We are a relatively strong community. Since they come from very different disciplines, we don't have too many opportunities to remain in touch. But we are indeed part of a group where we regularly meet, and we are aware of each other's journeys, and we have shared very good experiences like that.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Raj, I was thinking, we are at this beautiful university college, your alma mater, and we have this great opportunity to be talking here. Can we walk around a little, perhaps you could show us, the viewers, the college a little bit, and then we can talk the talk.
Absolutely. It will be my pleasure.
All right, Raj, show us the university.
So, this is one of the typical Oxford colleges has quads. So this is one of the quads that we are. And as you can see, this is all the kind of architecture. One of the things that for me it fascinates is that you are living history. You are part of a historical evolution of the institution. It's almost timeless and ageless. So let me walk you to a very special place that I have spent a lot of time looking at. And this is the master's quarters. This is where the master of University College lives. And Lord Barclay.
And Lord Barclay is the first who spoke about universities in those.
That's exactly right. Enter into the master's gardens. This is typically not allowed at all. You can't. Today happens to be an open day at the college.
Oh, that's why
we are able to enter into the master's gardens. Normally, that's not the case. This is a place where we've had a lot of social interactions, where the master would invite a smaller group of students and scholars to come and chat. He would also host larger dinners here. This happens to be the common room. We call it the senior common room.
That's right.
Yes, right there. So basically, this is also the library of the college. So
each college will have their own.
Absolutely. So this is another remarkable thing about Oxford, is that besides the central library that Oxford has, every college also has a library, and this is a beautiful library. We'll walk up to it. This is the common room, which is a social and cultural life of students. There is a pantry. There is a kind of television and music and somewhat. Those are the kind of things which we brought to our hostel. So if you look at our hostel, I see each of our hostel is like a college in a way. We have a common room, we have the housing. The only difference here is that the colleges are large spaces, so they also have dining, and we also walk up to the dining hall as well.
So Raj, if I may ask you one more question here. Please. So this is university.
That's correct.
And every college in Oxford will have a similar structure.
Yes, some of them.
Master, there is
exactly.
an ecosystem.
So they call it principal in some college. So Somerville College, the head of the Somerville College is called principal. Most colleges in Oxford, the head of the college is called the master. And they, as I said, they also have a library. But now this the type of infrastructure that each college has also has a direct bearing on the resources the college has. Obviously, some of the colleges are richer, older, has better infrastructure, better facilities, and some of them are slightly lesser. So, as I mentioned, that every college has the general library. Some of the colleges have a law library, and University College historically had a very strong, law focus. Ronald Dworkin, a fellow of this college, John Finnis, was the fellow where he was also my tutor. Adrian Zuckerman, one of the leading figures in the field of civil procedure, he was also a professor here. So because of its long and illustrious tradition for law, University College Oxford has a law library.
So there is a separate knowledge.
That's exactly right. That's not necessarily with every college, but University College quite remarkably had an independent law library where I spent a lot of time here. So this used to be my hangout space for my writing work, for my coursework, my assignments and all of that. So I have a lot of memories of this. It is again even housing, but it was not there when I was a student. This is a more recent development.
So when you got your Rhodes Scholarship and when you came to Oxford, did you have a choice in choosing the college that you would want to go to?
Great question. Typically, Oxford in the application process would ask you to give references of the colleges.
Okay.
So you have they asked you a few preferences, and I had done some research, and I actually felt, and partly because of the fact that Dworkin was here, my own interest in the field of jurisprudence and public law, so I did choose University College as my number one pick.
Actually,
You have to choose four. Okay. You may or may not get your preferred college. As I said, all Oxford colleges maintain a certain degree of quality in terms of its overall academic standard. But nevertheless, I chose University College for the reasons I mentioned, and I was very fortunate to have got to the University College. But fundamentally, I must say that in college, the colleges in Oxford are essentially probably have 5, reasons why a college matters. First, the college is a place where students live. So accommodation is the first aspect of a college in Oxford. Second, is a place where students dine. So the dining facilities are at the college. Third, college is the place where the cultural and social life of students happen, whereby they are part of a smaller community. So, for example, approximately 3,500 students every year join Oxford University across all colleges, all cities and all programs. But if you look at a particular college, the college may admit around 150 students only. And so this is spread across these 35 nests. So you are part of a much smaller community. And because all your life is in the college. Of course, for your classes, you will go to the particular university, and the faculty are artistically developed. In law, you go to the law faculty. For economics, you go to the economics faculty. The fourth reason colleges matter is that colleges are the place where your tutors are. So that's where your tutorial sessions are held. The fact that you have opportunities to study under the supervision of a teacher, of a professor, having conversations surrounding it, that is another experience that Oxford provides. So in some ways, colleges become opportunities for tutorials where the academic and intellectual space is provided on a one-on-one basis, which is the rare experience Oxford provides. I mean, there are probably Oxford and Cambridge are the only two institutions where so much of resources are put to provide one-on-one tutorial experiences for the students. That's not the case with any other institution. So in some ways, when you are a student looking to study at Oxford, you will use these criteria. But in terms of the overall academic experience, it doesn't matter which college you are.
Because all the classes are happening.
And the degree is awarded by the University of Oxford, and the professors are part of the particular department or faculty. The courses are all there. So, in a way, the kind of best kept secret about Oxford is that if you really want to choose colleges, You should be looking at the facilities that the college offers and anything else. All other things are available.
But Raj, this is fascinating because I think many of us did not know about how facility what your confidence that is. Another question from the came for the curriculum added. This was something which was not done. You did it because you got the scholarship. So are there any systems whereby the university or the college would help students understand the system or to help students engage with the context of Oxford and the culture that they had? So is there some percent there?
So for Indian, for us, we were somewhat different because what it is, I never applied to Oxford directly. I got the Rhodes Scholarship, and Rhodes almost applied to Oxford on our behalf. So we got the Rhodes Scholarship. Rhodes Scholarship is still able only at Oxford University, and hence our applications were sent to Oxford. And it is very rarely ever a Rhodes Scholar is not selected by Oxford. The process for some of the working on the single scholarship has actually applied to us like our students.
Yeah.
You apply and they have an application process where you end up choosing the college, host, program, and you out the process. If you're an undergraduate applicant, they also have interviews. When you are a graduate applicant, there are both interviews. Oxford will look at your file, both in terms of your overall academic credentials, and most statements, representation, a lot of that. On that basis, they
On it. That is very, very helpful to know. Well, Raj, now we've come to the end of this conversation. Very, very grateful to you for taking this time out, showing us the university college, telling us all about Oxford University, and not only about your journey and how this piece inspired you, but also, for all those young viewers watching, it is truly motivating and inspiring to know what it means to come and study at a university like Oxford. And also perhaps the hope and inspiration that you give them and all of us, that it is not about studying perhaps in the best university in the West or Europe or North America, that opportunities are available everywhere. One needs the right vision, the right kind of motivation, and perhaps the right kind of information to be able to do that. And now, as a colleague, I also understand where perhaps your will and zeal and desire to constantly work towards internationalization, to constantly work towards making more opportunities available for our students come from. As we speak, 45 of our students are here doing a summer school at Somerville College. And when I speak to them, I see how excited they are, what a tremendous learning opportunity it is for them. So, in conclusion, is there something that you would want to tell perhaps our young viewers and also to all the parents and guardians watching as to how do they look at internationalization? How should they think about the future of their kids, both in India and also in terms of their experiences outside the country?
So, being at Oxford, one of the things that I got to learn and appreciate is the relentless pursuit of excellence. The fact that the university is 800 years old doesn't mean that they take quality and the commitment to excellence for granted. And this is a very important lesson that we need to learn, because sometimes I feel in India, the discourse relating to quality and excellence sometimes, borders on taking things for granted. And we need to constantly work towards, ensuring that excellence is a constant pursuit. But what is solely remarkable from the experience that I had at Oxford is that Oxford also, helps you to think about what can be done to the world of education. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if Indian subcontinent, over 1,000 years ago, before Oxford was established, in the form of Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramshila, and Vallabhi, and many, many other institutions, were able to provide global leadership in world-class and global education. I don't see any reason why we cannot reimagine and retrace those steps for the global south to be able to aspire and to build institutions of global excellence. in some ways, this ought to be an opportunity for us to imbibe some of the most amazing values that these institutions have, but also to build on our own heritage, our own history, our own civilizational leadership that we have provided to the world. In fact, the reality today is that India is a country of 1.5 billion people. We are also a country of 1 billion people who are less than 35 years of age. This essentially means that some of the most amazing ideas, including transformative ideas, are going to emerge out of India and the global south because of the extraordinary demographic dividend that India, Indian subcontinent, South Asia and Africa is going to reap. So it is now time and moment for us to be able to rise up to this challenge when the world is beckoning us. It is about for us to create our own institutions of global excellence that can benchmark with not only with the best in the world, but also to be able to create our own standards of excellence when it comes to pursuing a world-class education of the world. I feel that that is what we should be providing and pursuing. I feel that the time is right for that. We have, fantastic institutional, ideas that we have ourselves promoted. We are very fortunate to see outstanding individuals from India and around the world joining our university. We are that way providing an amazing leadership. I mean, think about it for a moment, Upasana, that we set up OP Jindal Global University as a philanthropic initiative of our founding chancellor and benefactor, Mr. Naveen Jindal, in the year 2009, in a place called Jagdishpur village in Sonipat, Haryana. Now, we all know that Haryana historically is not necessarily a place which is known for education. It is known for very many other things, but not necessarily for education. But we have changed the landscape of Haryana. We have changed the landscape of Sonipat. We have changed the landscape of Jagdishpur village. If an idea that originated in Oxford University at University College can travel around the world and then to reach the rural part of Haryana and to plant the seed that will become a global university with today 12,500 students from 70 countries and 4,000 faculty and staff from 50 countries and 10,000 plus alumni around the world with international collaborations spread across 500 universities in 75 countries, it only shows the point that even sky is not the limit. It is all about the possibility of imagination that will help us to conquer the world and in that process change the world. And always reminded of what Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, change the world, but in a gentle manner. And that's exactly what higher education can and should do. And I can only hope that generations of students from Jindal and from other universities from India and around the world, when they pass through the portals of this institution, they get that inspiration and take that inspiration forward to be able to become agents of change in their own respective societies, in their own countries, in their own communities, as we need more and more outstanding institutions in the global south which can fulfill the aspirations of millions of young people in that part of the world.
Well, that is beautifully put, and there's nothing absolutely that one can add to that. And I think that's an apt and an inspiring note to end this conversation. What a privilege it has been, Raj. Thank you so much for giving this time. And I do hope that we can come back with more conversations. But it has been an absolute privilege and an honor to have this conversation with you here at Oxford. And I do feel that as inspired as I feel talking to you, listening to you, being in this space, we are able to translate that to all those who are watching us too. Thank you very much for your time. I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Upasana. Thank you very much.